The Three Billy Goats Gruff. Once upon a time, there lived 3 Billy Goats Gruff. There was Big Billy Goat, Middle Billy Goat, and Little Billy Goat. They lived in the mountains, but they were not happy. "I think it's time we move to where the grass is greener," said Big Billy Goat. The 3 goats all agreed, and so they began to make their way to the other side of the mountain. Whilst walking, they came across a rickety wooden bridge. "This bridge looks too weak to carry us all at once," said the Little Billy Goat. "We will have to cross one at a time." So they took turns to cross the bridge. Now what the goats didn't know is that beneath the bridge lived a huge, ugly troll. His face was covered with green boils, and his large eyes popped and rolled around his head. Trippity-trap, went the Little Billy Goat's hooves. Hearing the noise, the troll hauled himself from under the bridge and roared, "Who's that trippity-trapping over my bridge?" "It is just me," said the Little Billy Goat. "I want to cross over to eat the fresh sweet grass." But the troll had a different idea. "Well, I want to eat you," he bellowed. "I am too small to eat," said the Little Billy Goat. "Wait for my brother. He is bigger and tastier than me." The troll thought for a minute, for that was as long as he could think. Then he said, "Okay, I will let you cross and eat your brother instead." So the Little Billy Goat skipped across the bridge and ate the sweet grass. Next, the Middle Billy Goat made his way to cross the bridge. Trip-trap, went his hooves. Once again, the troll leapt up and roared, "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" "It is just me," said the Middle Billy Goat. "I want to cross over to eat the fresh sweet grass." But the troll did not like this plan. "Well, I want to eat you," he bellowed. "I am too small to eat," said the Middle Billy Goat. "Wait for my brother. He is bigger and tastier than me." The troll thought for a minute, which made him tired. Then he said, "Okay, I will let you cross and eat your brother instead." So the Middle Billy Goat skipped across the bridge and ate the sweet grass. At last, it was the Big Billy Goat's turn to cross. Trip-trap, went his hoofs. Hearing the noise, the troll leapt up onto the bridge. "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" he roared. "It is me," said the Big Billy Goat. "I want to cross over the bridge to eat the fresh sweet grass." "Well, I want to eat you," bellowed the troll. The Big Billy Goat said in a loud and powerful voice, "I don't think so." The Big Billy Goat lowered his head, stamped his feet, and charged at the ugly troll. The troll went flying through the air, over the bridge, and into the river with a great big splash. The Big Billy Goat strutted across the bridge and joined his brothers to eat the fresh sweet grass. The 3 Billy Goats never went hungry, and the huge troll was never seen again. The end. The Frog Prince. Once upon a time, there was a princess who lived in a castle. The princess had a favorite toy, a beautiful golden ball. One day, the ball slipped through her fingers, whoops, and fell into a deep, dark well. Suddenly, a frog came up from the well and said, "What's the matter? Maybe I can help." And so the princess told him what had happened. "I can help," the frog exclaimed, "but if I do, will you promise to be my friend?" And the princess said, Yes, anything you want." And then the frog dove into the deep, dark, spooky well and brought her ball back. The frog said, "Wait, what about your promise?" You promised that if I got your ball back, you would be my friend. The princess screamed, and everyone was afraid of the appearance of a talking frog, except the king, who listened to the frog explain what had happened. The king, hearing the frog's story, told his daughter that promises had to be kept. But the princess found herself disgusted by his froggy habits, and after dinner, she ran away and locked herself in her room. The princess felt so terrible that she put him on her bed so he could rest, when suddenly a wicked witch had put a spell on him, which would only be broken when someone showed kindness to an ugly old frog. The end. The Hare and the Tortoise. Once upon a time, there lived a proud hare. He liked nothing better than to show off how fast he could run. I am the fastest animal, the hare boasted. No one can beat me. Tired of his boasting, a tortoise made up his mind to challenge the hare. I bet I can beat you in a race, the tortoise said. You beat me? The hare laughed. I'd like to see you try. All right. I challenge you to a race, the tortoise said. Meet me here at noon tomorrow, and we shall see who wins. I don't know what makes someone as slow as you think they can defeat someone as fast as me, laughed the hare. But if you want to make a fool of yourself, then I will gladly beat you tomorrow in a race. The next day arrived, and all the animals gathered to watch the race. There was much excitement. Ready, steady, go, said the cat, and the race began. The hare took off as fast as he could. He raced past the buildings, the trees, and the animals until he was nearly out of sight. The tortoise, however, had barely passed the starting line. The animals began to whisper to one another. He hasn't got a chance, said the squirrel. What was he thinking? Asked the fox. The tortoise continued to make his way slow and steady, unaware of what the other animals were saying. The hare, realizing that the tortoise was way behind him, stopped for a moment. I think I will take a little nap, he said to himself. After all, that slowpoke is never going to catch up with me. So the hare found a comfy spot beside an olive tree where he fell fast asleep. Whilst the hare slept, the tortoise kept on going, slow and steady. The animals became very excited as the tortoise drew closer to the hare. They soon began to cheer and shout. Meanwhile, the hare continued to sleep. The tortoise kept going slow and steady until he finally reached the finish line. As the animals cheered, the noise was so loud that it woke the hare. The hare couldn't believe his eyes. The tortoise had won the race. The hare walked up to the tortoise and all their friends. From now on, said the hare, I will not boast about my speed. I may be fast, but slow and steady won the race. The end. The Hat Seller and the Monkeys. Once upon a time, there lived a hat seller called Saju. He sold all kinds of hats. Blue hats, red hats, yellow hats, striped hats, even hats with spots on them. Every day, Saju would travel from village to village selling his hats. Come and get your hats, he would call as he waved them in the air, creating all the colors of the rainbow. I have blue hats, red hats, yellow hats, striped hats, even hats with spots on them. Every day when he had sold all that he could, Saju would pack up his wares and travel to the next village in the hope to sell more hats. One day, the sun was so hot in the sky that Saju began to feel very sleepy. As he walked to the next village, he saw a huge tree with low-hanging branches that created a lovely patch of shade. I'll just rest here for a while, he said to himself. And he sat down his basket of hats, lay under the tree, and fell fast asleep. Now, Saju did not know that living in the tree was a group of very curious monkeys. They had watched the seller with excitement and could not take their eyes from his colorful hats. When he was fast asleep, the cheeky monkeys lowered themselves down from the tree and one by one began to take the hats out of the basket and place them on their heads. The monkeys had a lot of fun swinging in the tree wearing their new hats. When Saju woke up, he was astonished to find that his basket was empty. He searched around the tree and in the grass but could not find his hats anywhere. Suddenly, he heard a noise coming from the tree. He looked up and could not believe his eyes. There, in front of him, was the group of monkeys all wearing his hats. "Hey, you monkeys," the seller called, waving his fists in the air. "Give me back my hats." But his angry voice and his shaking fists only scared the monkeys and they waved their fists back at him. "They are not giving my hats back," the seller thought. "Give me back my hats," he shouted. And this time the seller jumped up and down in frustration. The monkeys thought this was all great fun and they copied Saju some more. This made Saju even madder. He stamped his feet on the ground and leapt up to try and reach the nearest monkey in the tree. The monkeys also began stamping their feet and jumping up and down. "They're copying everything I do," the seller thought. And then he had an idea. Saju smiled at the monkeys and said, "Please return my hats so I can sell them." And as he said this, he threw his own hat onto the ground. All the monkeys took their hats from their heads and threw them onto the ground right by Saju's feet. Saju picked up all his hats, placed them back into his basket, and continued on his way. In the tree, the monkeys could hear the seller in the distance. "Come and get your hats," he called. "I have blue hats, red hats, yellow hats, striped hats, and even hats with spots on them." The end. The Lion and the Mouse. Once upon a time on the plains of the Serengeti, a lion lay fast asleep. Suddenly, the lion could feel something crawling up his body. It was a little mouse. The lion was furious to have been awakened. The lion roared and caught the little mouse. "How dare you wake me from my dreams?" the lion roared. "Please let me go," squeaked the mouse. "I promise that if you set me free, I will help you when you next need help." "You help me?" the lion mocked. "How could someone as small and weak as you ever help someone as powerful as me?" The lion laughed out loud. "Seeing that you have made me laugh so loud, I cannot possibly eat you now," the lion said, and he let the mouse go. Many days later, the lion was strolling through the plains when suddenly he got caught in a hunter's trap. The little mouse was passing by. "Hello, lion. I remember you. You are the lion that set me free and showed me kindness. For that reason, I'm going to help you now." "Although you didn't believe me," said the mouse, "I knew I would be able to help you someday. Even the small and weak can help the big and strong." The lion was very grateful to his new little friend. "Thank you," he said. "I will never forget this lesson." And he and the mouse remained friends for a very long time. The end.
Want to see more? Subscribe and like for more fun songs, stories, and facts.